Special good morning to our listeners via Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Good Thursday morning. It's the first day of June. Yeah, we start off a brand new month and certainly welcome the month of June. Let me say good morning also to our viewers via GBN TV, whether you're viewing channel 7, channel 11 or channels 20. Good morning to you also. Our social media audience as usual who love us as always, whether it's via the YouTube channels, the Facebook page. You're viewing GBN's webpage, gbn.gd. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. I'm your host, GT. I will be with you until it's 3 a.m. this morning. You know, it's Thursday, and usually on Thursday we do entertain various departments of the Grenada Police Force, the Royal Grenada Police Force. And this morning we, of course, have the Pediatric Larceny Task Force with us this morning. And we thought that our key subject line this morning will be introducing technology to farming. And I have it with me this morning, Officer Colville. Let me go over to Officer Garvin and say good morning. Good morning to you, Officer. How are you doing this morning?
Yes, pleasant good morning, GT, and pleasant good morning to the listening public.
All right. It was actually a couple of weeks ago. I think it was the last time I had you in studio with us. We were actually talking along the same line, Pediatric Larceny and so forth like that, in terms of how farmers could protect their farms and various aspects of security measures and safety. I think that was the aspect of the conversation that we did have back then. This morning, as I mentioned, our subject matter this morning is introducing technology to farming. One may ask who is listening right now, how important it is in this era for farmers and so forth to introduce technology into farming. Well, you can answer that.
Well, if I may start by saying, introducing technology to farming is not something that is that difficult to do. Mm-hmm. You know, majority of the time, farmers, livestock farmers, and call it farmers, may be faced with problems whereby the produce or the livestock had been stolen, and they cannot find that perpetrator who had stole that produce or livestock. And all you go about is like a suspect. So if you introduce that technology of installing cameras, mm-hmm. that will, in a sense, help.
That's one means of
technology in covering that problem of stealing of that produce or livestock.
Now, folks may say, me putting cameras in my farm and so forth. Some folks may see it as being a bit far-fetched. You know? But how important is that?
At the same time, if you've been distressed on a regular basis by your produce or livestock being taken away, and all you're having is just a suspect, you have not seen anybody to bring forward to justice. Having that technology put in place in your livestock farm or in your farm, it will help a lot, because then you can go back to that camera system and see whoever would have trespassed onto your property to steal your livestock or steal your produce.
I'm in agreement with you with that, because we know how in this day and age how technology has changed the way in terms of how a lot of folks do things.
Yes, it has.
And it can certainly go a long way in terms of helping farmers now. Now, to highlight for me some of the ways in which technology can be used to help farmers prevent thieves, as we stipulated, and to be aware of thieves in say like for real-time evidence.
Well, as I said, if that system where the technology system is been set up is you having cameras installed in that farm, let's say you're farming, when you're doing your farming or livestock farming, you have that camera setup being installed there, and that camera system will automatically set up back to your phone, which is your mobile device. So once anybody enter that property to steal your livestock or produce, then your mobile device will give you an alert. As you know, WhatsApp, you have an alert, because that system needs to be downloaded into the phone. So then you will have that system to be traveling with your mobile device, and in that aspect as well, you must have data to operate that system. So it's a thing that will be costly, because you buying that camera system to put in place into your farm to deter thieves from coming onto your property to steal your produce or livestock. Then you also have to have a data system on your phone to always view your property to see exactly what's happening.
How beneficial could it be for farmers?
Well, it will be beneficial. It will be very beneficial, because it's not every time a farmer will be able to visit his farm. When I say farm, like where you do your produce, and sometimes something may come up, you cannot go to that farm that morning.
Yes.
Or something, at the same time, something may come up, you cannot go and feed your animals at this particular time in the morning, which you usually do. And you may have to go and handle some business in the bank, or you may have to rush somebody to the hospital. And in that sense, somebody may see that you have entered that property at that time, that specific time, which you usually enter that property. And they may use that opportunity to go into your farm to remove something.
Because you've been monitored also.
Because you've been monitored also.
Yes,
because as we speak now, farmers usually go to the farm at a certain time and don't feel that when they travel into the farm, they're not being looked at by somebody. Somebody must see somebody and or look out than that person going to the farm because they're a target.
That's so true.
You understand? So in that process, it will help a lot.
Because, you know, the individuals themselves, you know, they follow technology too.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
Individuals who want to prey on you, they will also use technology. You never know, they could be watching you some way or the other.
Yes.
Now, besides cameras, what other means of technology can individuals use, farmers, etc.? You know, it may not always be a farmer who doing the actual produce. There are different types of people who do different farmers. What other means of technology can be implied in terms of for you know, to safeguard your property?
Well, it depends on what property you're speaking of. If it's the
we speak of the farm. You could be a livestock farmer. You could be a farmer that does the other produces and so forth. What kind of other technology could be employed?
Well,
example, you know, motion sensors.
Well, yes. Well, I was getting to that. You know, some people. Well, at the same time, when we're speaking of technology, besides using the cameras, you could use motion sensor, lighting system. Well, again, on that aspect, I think that's why Mr. Bido was asked to come along with me. So he would have speak more on that aspect of the, you know, the solar system and stuff like that. So this is another mean, besides the cameras, this is another means that you can use to deter thieves from entering your property and, you know, distressing you from livestock and other produce.
All right, interesting.
Yes.
Folks, we drew for our first break in this segment. We're going to take that break. When we come back, we should chat some more here on To The Point this morning and here on Classic Radio and GBN TV. We're coming right back. Stay with us.
Do you know, when you play the games of the National Lotteries Authority, you are supporting sports, culture, and nation building in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique?
Hi, I am Junior Murray, cricket coach, sports enthusiast, and a former West Indies cricketer. I endorse the games of the NLA 100%. For the past 40 years, the NLA has been funding many sporting activities, including competition for schools and clubs, and for athletes to participate in overseas tournaments such as the Carifta Games and the regional cricket tournaments. Additionally, they made it possible for you, the public, to view local, regional, and international tournaments from the comfort of your homes. For those reasons, I play the game of the NLA. Even if I do not win, I know Grenada always wins.
Yes, when you play all the games, the NLA in turn supports sports, culture, and nation-building activities throughout the Tri-Island state.
On Saturday, July 29, Montrouge Plainfield will be transformed into a sea of grills as food, fun, and friends collide. It's the 10th annual Maggie King of the Grill competition. The best chef and barbecue kings and queens compete for cash, a new grill, and the title of Maggie King of the Grill. Come savor the flavors. Try to bust the ice cold bar and let the kids have their way in the bouncing castles, pony rides, slides, and games. Try your hand at dominoes or the beer and leg competition and win instant cash. Come 7 p.m. you go stateside to enjoy performances from top local acts. It's a whole evening of fun at the Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, July 29 at the Montrouge Plainfield. Gates open from 12 noon. $10 get you on the inside. Powered by Maggie, Hot 98, and GBN Television.
Box we say, yeah, GBN we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box we say, I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box we say, I'm
welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the point here on Classic Radio and the GBN TV. And with me this morning, we have Officer Colville with me this morning, and we're talking, ways in which individual can safeguard their property, especially the farming industry, in terms of using, implying, of course, implementing ways and with the use of technology to safeguard your property from, of course, folks who may want to prey on you, So by implementing these cameras and so forth, those was one of the ways we spoke about. We did also mention, the use of, other devices that could be implemented that could certainly help you, safeguard your property. Officer Garvin, welcome back once again. Now,
Yes.
the farming community, especially here in Grenada, we hear they speak a lot about, my produce has been stolen, and it's not being beneficial for me. Once they even leave the way farmers want to, saying that, maybe I should get out of this business. You understand? Because I've been preyed a lot. We have the pre-larceny task force and so, but the pre-larceny task force cannot be everywhere at the same time.
No. We cannot.
It is impossible for them to even safeguard everybody's farm.
Yes.
You understand? No, I know we speaking of introducing technology, but there's always that old way of doing things that can also save your farm from thieves. When I say this, I'm talking about being your brother's keeper.
Yes.
You understand? By being your brother's keeper, as farmers could look out for each other and so forth in terms of helping. What's your take on that?
Well, that usually take place by, in certain farming communities. Farmers usually, once they've been hit, hard by those perpetrators, they usually maybe come together and do stakeouts, which we call, stakeout is what we call setup during the process of the night. And
but that's a bit of a toughie these days, eh?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is, but
sometimes you wonder how it's been done way back. And how they used to call it back then. You have a watchman.
A watchman. In those days, you saw a watchman. They say watchman and the
watching
estate
your
and
farms
stuff.
and whole night.
Yes. So farmers usually come together. Once they have a good unity, they usually come together and do little setup, which we call stakeout, and see how best they can catch out perpetrators.
All right. Now, the use of technology, of course, we know of the benefits that can derive from it. I mean, off air we were speaking off air a while ago in terms of how technology can certainly safeguard a lot of individuals, safeguard you personally.
Yeah.
You understand? You may be in your own personal space. Someone wants to invade your personal space for whatever reason. By having technology that could certainly act as a deterrent. What are some other deterrents? Having the technology implemented or introduced into your farming into the farming community can certainly help in terms of deterrent. What as a deterrent for say in terms of individuals who wants to prey on you or thief your stuff?
What other deterrent? Well, some people usually set up they usually set up their own aspect of deterring a thief. So they might set up maybe a mannequin kind of looking in the farm, so when you enter, you may see like there is somebody who is standing there.
Okay.
People usually have those kind of things which they set up to kind of deter thief. But still there is always means and ways for these thieves.
I was really asking to see, like, in terms of technology, can technology also be used as a deterrent for thieves?
Well,
can individual know? Okay, with the individual knowing their cameras.
As we were speaking a while ago, when we had that break, and if the camera system is implemented by someone wanting that camera system and setting it up on their property, they can also get the system with the voice system that can. So once you see that person, you can speak to that person in that sense and saying, well, hi John, what are you doing there? In that kind of sense. So that having that camera system with that voice parts that you can speak to them, then that could also be a deterrent.
All right.
And then I guess if you have that system implemented and you choose to set up that system along with your home system, so maybe you could have like a little music maybe playing through it, and that person may wonder where that is coming from. So because it's technology, so you may have, because like, okay, for your example, live in your house, you may live in your home and you may have a music playing and you're not there.
So true.
So there is means and ways that once the camera system is implemented, there is certain means that maybe you could use to use that same system to detect thieves.
It's true, because now individuals come around your house, hear music, will give the impression
That someone is there.
Someone is around.
Yes.
You understand? Give them
Yes.
the impression someone is around. So maybe I shouldn't enter because I'm hearing music playing.
Exactly.
Because individuals may always think, well, I don't think John is going to leave music just playing in his home if he's not there.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So ways of the deterring those thieves is also very important.
And then you may go on somebody's house, for example, with the same technology system as we're speaking about, not only in the farm, but in, the camera system being implemented to farm. You may go on somebody's house and you may hear like talking, and that talking is through that same camera system, and nobody is at home. So those things could be implemented if persons interested in having those systems. They can look up online and get the system, and they can also go to the Ministry of Agriculture and tell them that, look, we're interested in having cameras to set up in our farm, and then they will take it from there.
All right. Now, from the Grenada Police point of view, in terms of these surveillance that have been implemented, I mean, could it be used to safeguard not only your personal, but could it do to aid in terms of the community also?
Yes, you can.
Because it implies now that because I'm having this camera in my farm and Mr. John also has a farm in close proximity, I could probably, because of how my camera system is set up, it could also aid in helping
Yes,
Mr.
it
John.
can also help Mr. John, because based on, if your camera is being placed in your farm, as we said, careless where you're doing your produce or livestock, and it's placed in a strategic position, and he can picking up my property as well as Mr. John's property, I think we can collaborate and work together. So if I see something happening from my camera, which is viewed on my camera and my property, and I am picking up Mr. John being distressed by somebody, it helps.
No, in aids of evidence, because from time to time it seems to be one of the ways no longer you having that physical, not just being somebody there to see you, but now you're having that video evidence and so forth, especially when you come to taking a perpetrator to court.
Yes.
You understand? Tell us how electronic evidence can be used, as evidence in court.
Well, the court have the system that is set up to use that electronic evidence in the court. So that person will have to bring that cameras, that flash drive
or recording or whatever recorded.
Bring it to the police, and then the police will bring it to the relevant personnel, which is the IT unit, and then will make the relevant take the relevant information and then
pass it through the court system.
Yes.
So it benefits you in a wholesome way or the other, because no, you can't say you think it's Mr. John.
No, you cannot say that
because you saw Mr. John with some of the produce selling by the road.
That's why it becomes important, because that time, if you've been seen and you approach Mr. John and said, Mr. John, the police are here, and we use the regular terms and ways that we're supposed to arrest or detain someone, and then he will say, well, what did I do? And then when that evidence showed up, there's no way you can be in denial to say, well, no, it wasn't me. There you have it before you that, look, you've been seen. And
there's that old summary, a picture tells 1,000 words, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So there is no way you can, at that time, there is no way you can deny that you was not on that property.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So it has its benefits. Anyhow,
as you said, it have its advantage and its
disadvantages
yes.
about it. All right.
Yes.
All right. Hey, folks, don't feel free. Also, if you do have a question or two for Officer Colville, feel free to call in 435-2041. You may have a question or two pertaining to the use of technology. You may be thinking about implementing the technology into your personal space, whether it's your garden or your home, and you're thinking about it, and you probably want to ask a question or two. Feel free to do so. Let's go to the phone line, entertain a caller, and let's go for it. Caller, good morning, welcome.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I think it's yesterday, sometimes I heard a lady thing come out on the radio and she speak about how one of those ministers, they tell our opposition person to sit down.
Caller, good morning. This is not the nature of the conversation this morning. All right, we're talking about, ways in which individuals can safeguard their homes and just in using of technology. So we're not going that particular direction with the conversation this morning. Thank you so much for calling in. 435-2041, 435-2041, that's the number. If you do have a question or two to ask Officer Colville, feel free to do so. We're talking technology, Officer Colville. Once again, we're talking technology in terms in which it can safeguard your home, your property, especially those of you into farming and so forth. And you want to use that technology to deter.
Yes.
Technology can certainly go a long way in helping them do so. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning and you're welcome. Caller, you may have to lower your radio or television, whatever you have in the background, and get back to us. 435-2041. 435. Please, once again, if you do want to call in, make sure your television or your radio, whatever device you have in the background, make sure the volume is at a minimal, or I will recommend you totally turn it off. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, good morning. Good morning to you, caller. Guess that is no one is there. So let's move along. We're probably gonna hold on the phone calls a wee bit until someone who's actually ready for us. We will probably entertain them then. Let's continue with it in terms of evidence once again. In terms of the video evidence and so forth from the use of technology in your farm and so forth. Now, when an individual get this evidence, what's the process that they're supposed to do in terms of getting in contact with it? Could you call the police, or should you just go on out and just go and confront an individual?
No. This is something we try to tell farmers not to do, in the sense of confronting an individual, because they always say a thief is a criminal. So we don't. We as the Pre-Larceny department, we always try to tell farmers not to engage those persons once they've been seen, or if they have their technology and they've been seen or they've been seen IC, don't engage them. Please call us, and then we will respond in a timely manner, as quick as possible, and try to deal with that situation. I
agree. I certainly agree with you on that. Yes. Let's see if we can entertain a caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
Morning, officer.
Yes, caller. Go ahead with your contribution, please. So, guess we lost that caller there. I'm not sure what's the problem this morning, but I'm not sure what's good. So So, as you said, as you were saying, Officer Garvin, you come up with the evidence that you have before you. You record it. You visit your police, or you call the police.
Well, you have two options. Either you call, or you come in to the station. But majority of the times, people call.
Yes.
And then we visit the property, and then we see the stuff.
I guess the evidence is shown to you.
Shown to me, and
individual X been seen doing this or that.
Department, and that's where what was removed, and and then we take it from there.
All right. Okay. Let's entertain our caller. Caller, good morning and welcome. Not sure what's happening this morning. If it's my hands are moving too quickly or something of the sort, I'm not sure what's happening. 435-2041. Feel free to give us a call if you do have a question or two pertaining to the nature of our conversation this morning. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, sir. Good morning to you guests.
Good morning.
I had a personal experience with Pre-Larceny a couple of years back. Somebody stole my cow, and I had to go look for it for myself. I do realize that the police is kind of shush. To me, they shut staff, and they have working, they don't really care. Because to me, they don't really care. I believe that. They don't really care. And they don't know where to start and where to end. But there's a real demand for animals right now. People are stealing animals left, right, and center. And sometimes the police cannot solve them cases. What do I propose? When you hold one person red-handed, you do what we call public flogging in the market. And it can go on pay-per-view, people can pay to see it. Because, example, you might be in the office now and you can't go in the market to really see where somebody get flogged. So you buy it on pay-per-view, and the money you make from that, you can give to the farmer. Now you shame that person, because with technology right now, that thing can go viral. When somebody is shamed, because thief is somebody that is a pretender. So once you expose a thief and make the whole village, make the whole country know that person is a thief, They will have to calm down. So I think we need to go on that line. Public flog them in the market, them thief for them. Everybody can see you're a thief. You thief a goat, you thief a sheep, you thief a cow. You thief when somebody get into the produce, you publicly flog them. Whether it's a farmer, whether it's a vendor, you publicly flog them. Have a nice day, brother.
Colin, let me ask you a question before you leave.
Yeah.
What's your take on the use of technology in farming? For your instance, for your case where you lost that animal of yours. But if you probably thought about implementing technology, would you think it would have been easier for you to obtain or get results faster?
Yeah, for real. Example, there was a farmer I'm in close contact with, and he had cameras on his soursop tree, and just at the home, and guys keeping his soursop, he just go on his phone and he put it up. And, all them guys who was taking the soursop, you can hold them. The police operate all of them. Simple as that. So having cameras in the garden is the way to go right now. There's no way about it. It's a miniature agriculture now. But have to make it easier for the farmers. Because remember, most farmers in Grenada don't know about technology. Don't know how to use it. Don't know how to do this. So it's a miniature agriculture. I don't think they're leading role in bringing the cameras, ordering the cameras, and sell it for the farmers in Grenada. So then the farmers can get used to that. You see, we got to understand here. With the people you're working with, what you're working with. Some of them cannot do that. So you have to take the initiative as the Ministry of Agriculture. The government has to take the lead. Because you cannot wait for the farmers to do on their own. Most farmers are stressed out to sell their produce, are stressed out working in the land. They ain't got time for that. They mind hot. So the body, which is Ministry of Agriculture, has to take the lead. Bring the cameras, selling for the farmers. And then you will see a change. Have a nice day, brother.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution. I mean, the caller do have made a valid point in terms of, not a lot of farmers are into technology.
Well,
especially
yes.
if your location of your farm and so forth.
Yes, very much so.
Access to data and stuff or internet.
And then, then some of the persons that are doing the farming and taking the farming seriously are persons that are of age already.
Mm-hmm.
So they may not be able to use the computer system or the phone, which is, the mobile device with the technology and how to review that kind of stuff like that. But, I mean, for the persons of, when I say that the young persons, they can use that kind of a system. But I understand exactly what the caller is saying. And as the caller said, his car was stolen. You see, GT, people usually just said, call on the program or call on the radio station and say, oh, my car had been stolen. But where your car had been stolen? Because you see, GT, people want to mine a lot of animals and they don't have the land to mine those animals. So they just tie the animal all about the place and they don't go at nights and maybe bring them close to their home. So then if you tie your animal, if you tie your cow, what we are now, and you tie your cow up at the roundabout, let's say by Westmoreland School, and you don't go beyond that cow for 2-3 days, persons pass, they see that cow, they
probably think it's a
come on, thief don't think of, okay, that cow is GT own or that cow is John own. They see that cow there for 3 days, them make a market for it already, or them have something. So then people that want to do this, all these animals and saying that people stealing the cow and stealing the goat and stuff, you have to try to bring your animals closer to your home or try to build pens to pen your animals. Because this is one of the things the department been faced with at the moment. It's stealing of livestock. It's very heavy.
Especially if it's not possible for you to have to implement the technology.
To implement this technology, this is what advice I can give. If you cannot implement the technology that is been, what we're speaking about now, is to try to at least build a pen to see how best you can pen your animal or how best you can have it closer to your home.
All right. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Hello.
Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Yes, sir. You have your animal or your house. Your house is yours. As far as I'm concerned, you have a right to tie your animal, or you have the right to tie it. So you don't have to watch it and go on and tie it every day or whatever. I'm not saying it's not necessary to do it, Why is it that somebody should be able to steal it, even if they see it tied there? The important thing is some of us are conditioned to stealing. We do not want to work for what we have. In fact, I have lodged a complaint since 3 weeks now. So I tried to lodge it. I went to St. George's to lodge it. Somebody broke open a house, or the house in which I'm taking care of, my brother's house. Waka St. Andrews. And I have been to the police station in St. George. They sent me to the police station in Grenville because they said that's the area. I have reported it or tried to report it. And the police himself want to arrest me. Or I didn't know if he's a police. I asked him his name. He didn't want to tell me why then a police supposed to tell you his name if you ask him what his name. And he attempted to arrest me in the police station in Grenville on last week, Saturday. Eventually, what would you do? You as a ordinary citizen, you cannot get address it by the police. The police telling you, he go lock you up. What would you do? You're talking about time call. You have a right to time call once you have the right to type where you want and leave it or where you want. If you call that, that's your democratic right to leave it, even to die if you want, and to type where you want. Since you have the permission to type, you don't have to hide your cow below your house or your cattle below your house. This is nonsense. Now I look at it, I intend to go back to the police station today because somebody make arrangement for me to see somebody. And I want to see the result. Nobody came to look at it and asking me a stupid question if they break open. I told the person, they are in the force, so they don't supposed to have the knowledge of what is being broke open. They had to go with me or tell me, let's come, let we see, or come tomorrow, let us go. Up to now, I cannot get redress to it. So what would I do if I meet somebody in the place now? So that's the thing, what I mean. Nobody has the right to thief anybody cow or to take it and tie it somewhere else. This is committing a crime. What do you think, sir?
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. Certainly, the caller do have a concern there that he seemed to be very, very much.
Yes, you can see that he's upset about whatever was said to him. But I don't want the caller to get me wrong on what I said before. It's not that I said that nobody cannot tie the cow where they have the right to tie it. All I'm saying, the persons that have been affected by those the livestock being stolen is to see a great means or ways that they can secure the animal better. And I rightfully said, in doing so, if they can bring it closer to the home or build a pen. So I never said that no one don't have the right to tie the animal where they have the right to tie it. And this, as the caller made that statement, I will just elaborate on that a little bit. People are tying the animals in places that they don't have a right to tie it. So this is one of the things, again, that the department been faced with. People are just entering people's property and tying animals in people's property that they don't have right to do so.
And then probably it become impounded.
And then it become impounded, and then it raise a concern, and then you have a problem behind that.
Okay. Yes. Let's entertain another caller before we take a break. Caller, I guess we lost that caller there. We drew for a break. Let's take it. We come back with more of your calls and concerns when we do come back. Stay with us here on To The Point.
We got.
Join us on Caribbean Medical TV as we discuss a topic close to the heart of our Caribbean people and hear the experiences from the leading experts in the region about heart disease, the major contributing factors, what to look for, and why we are seeing heart attacks in younger men and women. Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV right here on this station.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers this morning. It's to the point. We have with me this morning, we have Officer Colville with me this morning, and we're talking here this morning. Our conversation is certainly about, the use of technology in terms of aiding, especially when it comes to those in the farming community and so forth, how technology can certainly help in going and certainly go a long way in terms of the deterrence for individual when they want to prey on you for whatever reason. Let's entertain our caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, caller.
Yes, sir. I am just looking at someone who is, they have the property. It could be the agricultural land or the property, home property, their house, but they're not in the island. They have the cameras up, and wherever country they are seeing what is happening in their homes, and they want to report it and they want justice. How does it work?
Well, it's as simple as the officer mentioned a while ago. I mean, I'll leave it up to you, but I think there's a simple response to that. Go right ahead.
Yeah, well, as I said, once you have that evidence, you will either call the police or you bring that evidence to the police, and then the police will bring it to the relevant department where they will go through it and take the relevant information from that, and then whatever action you want to be taken from that viewing, then you can rightfully do so.
All right. I mean, if the person is overseas, as he mentioned, they could probably make their arrangement where they can have the evidence go to someone else. And
then majority of the persons that overseas and have camera system being set up in a place, besides they overseas and they they have that technology where they could look at it or view it, as I may say, the same way. They usually have somebody, as the man said, a caretaker, somebody here looking over the property. And one of the things that, as we on that note, GT, that I'd like to mention is that persons are given the privilege to look over people's property, especially land, and they're just giving that word of mouth and saying that, oh, John leave me in charge. But what I would just advise persons to do, when someone is leaving you in charge of a property and they are traveling, it's right that you should have a written document in your possession saying that you get permission or they leave you in charge of that property. So then if anything were to happen and you need to go to the police, word of mouth does not stand. It's black and white. That stands. So you need to, at least if you left in charge of that property and that person is traveling for a period of time, it's right that that person should give you something in black and white stating that you are in charge of that property in their absence, rather than just telling you, John, I'm leaving you in charge of that property. That does not work.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Hello. Most come up. You made a good statement, officer. But I'm an old, ageable, stupid man. But the same way they could make the gadget, do you think the gadget could be easily jammed? I don't know what I mean by jammed. But I should think it could be stopped. If they could make it, they could stop it. Imagine you have a gadget in your property to show you what is happening. The only how it could work, how you could see, is if it continues to work. But with this advanced stage, I think you are a youth. Youth now could jam anything. Not because you can do it or I can do it. The people that have the experience, the technological experience, could jam it. So having it to some extent, I'm not telling you it's not good, It could be useless because these thieves and them, they're somewhat sophisticated more than those who try to protect, and even those who build it, they know how to jam it. Comment on that.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution. The caller do have a relevant point. Has made a relevant point, I would say, officer, because the thieves these days, if we could be as simple, most thieves have a level of understanding. I don't think they do. I mean, there are individuals who may have went to
secondary school and
may not want to work to earn what they want the proper way. So they're thinking, well, if I could prey on someone to get what I want, I do it. So they do, and technology, it doesn't mean because an individual hasn't gone to school, they don't know how to use technology. Well, so the caller,
I will just mention something very briefly, and that any system or any device could be tampered with. So it doesn't make a difference because it's camera, there's computer, any system could be tampered with. Yes. So maybe once you have camera on your house and that thief maybe sees the camera and you have access to it, maybe he could tamper with it. So then you wouldn't be able to view or see any evidence of someone entering the property.
That's where proper installation comes in.
Exactly.
Proper installation comes in. Let's entertain another caller. We lost that caller very bit. We lost the caller. Let's take a break. When we do come back, we certainly will entertain. But let's take this caller. We was going to take a break, but let's just entertain this caller before we take the break. Caller, good morning, and you're welcome.
Nowadays, when you have people with the technology, they themselves, those who know the technology, those who do the installation, they themselves know what to do. So if they plan or they have a friend or they have some connection to do the crime, they know what to do when you don't see them. So I am saying that the people who in the technological era are the ones that will be the biggest criminals. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. That's another relevant point. They say sometimes the thief themselves will do the installation.
Well, that's something that they usually say. The person that usually install the camera are the ones who come back and remove things from your place. But as you rightfully said, if your camera is being surfaced,
properly mounted, and especially when it comes to a farm, that could be another issue.
That's what I mentioned before. Installing cameras is installing your cameras in strategic positions that no one can be able to view it or have reach to it that they can tamper with it. Because if your camera is if it's a surface and anybody could just stand up and reach to it, obviously they will tamper with it. But if you need to climb up at a certain height to get to that camera, then it will be impossible to do so. As well as maybe they may take, if the lines are being exposed, they can take something and cut the lines or bust down the lines. That's why you see people usually bust the wall and try to get the camera installed against the wall so you won't see the lines. But
that's why I mentioned proper installation.
Proper installation is a key to installing those cameras.
All right. We drew for a break. Let's take that break. We're coming back with much more here on To The Point this morning on our final segment. Stay with us, folks.
Feel good facts. Help prevent cold and flu by washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. That's the time it takes to remove most germs. No soap and water? No worries when you've got alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
Welcome back to our listeners and viewers. It's To The Point for today, Thursday, the 1st day of June. Gotten to that midway mark of the year 2023. Let's entertain a caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
But you don't seem to have understood. When these people come to set up your cameras in it, they come with their laptop. And they do the same thing they set up in your house. They could monitor you. Rather than you monitoring yourself and you're monitoring what else. They're monitoring you because they set up your camera on their system, on their laptop. And then so they could monitor you so they know what's going on. This is the kind of thing we have. So I'm saying, if we want to stop crime and to stop this thing, we have to change the human being. The human being must be changed. His heart must be changed so that these things could be done. But nothing you do could change man except Christ. That is what I keep telling the world. Jesus is the only answer to all these things. And if we don't want God, we don't want change. Have a blessed day, darling.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. But then that's where it also goes back to having somebody who is reputable doing the installation for you, or if you have the capability yourself in understanding the technology, you could probably do the installation.
Yeah, but you have to know who you get into do your installation or who you have come onto your property to view your house to install those cameras. So, you need to get a reputable person, someone that you can trust, and someone that you know for a period of time, and you have confidence in that person can enter your property and install cameras. You can't just go, not because there is persons that installing cameras or an electrician that is, and you want an easier way out, you just go to anybody. So then you use the person that is reputable and somebody that you can have confidence and trust in.
It's
So do that.
true. Let's take a couple of questions from our online viewers this morning, listeners online. We have an who's asking a question. This individual is asking, can the officer tell us what's the stats in Carriacou and Petit Martinique on farmers who have been affected by thieves and what the police are doing to help these farmers in Carriacou? If you have any stats on that.
Well, I have no stats on that at this time presently, and what I can do this time we turn into a program next time around, I can try to get some stats on that, so then I can maybe answer that question. But at that time presently, I'm not be able to answer on Carriacou.
All right. Let me see if there's any other bits and pieces in terms of question being asked online this morning. Everything else seems to be for generalized conversation individuals are having on the same subject matter. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome. Good morning to you.
1 minute, brother. I just want to address the officer a little bit. You said about farmers have the animal tie in places for 2 days, brother. A real farmer will never have the animal tie for 10 feet. I take care of animals in the Batway area, the Southern Suez area. That's why when you go to Batway and look on the side, you see all them cows there. That's where I operate. I found my animal quite in Paul's, by the boat bridge in Paul's, where everybody talk about the boat bridge. I found my animal quite there. I took 2 weeks out of my business. 2 weeks. Searching, looking, investigating. I have to pay an informer, give them a reward on the radio to get back my animal. It wasn't just like that. I'm telling you. I used to stop on the Dunfermline Bridge and walk through that river, go right down to Paul's boat bridge, like Rambo. You know watch the movie Rambo? That's how I used to operate. My head tied with my cutlass well sharpened and my other tool in my waist, and I'm moving through, looking for my brother. It wasn't just like that. It was a serious running when it comes to me and my animals. So a serious farmer will never have an animal tie on the side of the road and 2 days and no feeding the animal. And with my initiative, with my getting my animal, I end up help 3 other farmers get cows, get back the animal. Because when I cracked my case, I cracked 3 other cases with my case. And up to now, the police haven't done nothing for me as yet. Sergeant Lynch, who was in Satel, he could tell you about me. Have a nice day, brother.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. So you were going to tell me?
Yes, caller. I'm not just. You see, you're speaking on your behalf. You're speaking about yourself. But I'm speaking for what I've seen. So don't say a farmer would not have an animal tie for 2 days without attending to it. Don't say that, because I have seen it. Members of my department have seen it. So you're speaking about yourself. So don't say that wouldn't happen. It happens.
Yeah, because everybody would have different experiences.
Exactly. Your experience is not my experience.
As a caller did said, who taken into real farming or taking care of that,
exactly,
may not do that because that's their livelihood. So they will take the due care and attention as they want, that they should. And there another farmer or someone else who's taking care of animal may not put that due care and attention because he doesn't do it for doing it. You understand? All right. Understandable. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Hi, morning, GT. How are you doing?
Not bad. Go right ahead, please.
Morning, officer. Technology on the farm is a very important thing, but I have some serious problem when I report that to the police. On more than one occasion, I go to my farm and I meet animals on the farm. Destroy me things. I take my phone and I take snap of these animals and them. I report to the police. I went there myself to the police station. They tell me they go be there by the time before I leave the garden. I say I will leave there about 12 o'clock. I study up to 1. Police never show up. On more than one occasions, that happened. I go to the station more than once, I'm telling you, and I go and I report it to the police. Nobody never show up. Nobody. So you're saying that to take a snap, bring it to the police, and then they go take it from there. That doesn't happen all the time. I say that technology is a good thing because putting a camera on a farm is a good thing to help. But we have thieves now they come with face mask. They come with a mask on the face. You understand what I'm saying? So even though you have this camera there, that doesn't mean to say it go happen. You understand? So the technology come and so the design come and get more accurate and more prepared too. So technology is good, but police have to have more than that. Too much square pegs in the wrong hole to do this within the police force. Police have to be more proactive than that. If we have to stop crime, police have to be more proactive than that. We need more assistance from the police. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. Thank you so much. Well, the caller made that point there where you said that, thieves are also becoming more complicated themselves. And,
yes,
they wear massive, and being aware that you may have cameras and so forth in your property. They will disguise themselves so it not be that easy for them to be caught.
Yeah, but that's where investigation comes in, Yeah. And you see, the caller mentioned that he went to his garden already and met animals there and take photos. I will just show something to that caller, and not only the caller alone, but to the listening public and farmers. If you go to your property and you meet animals or animal there, any animal, you can impound that animal. And let me just say that again, you can impound that animal. And impounding that animal, you have to ensure that that animal remain in the good care and health that you impound that animal in. Because if that animal were to die within your care, you have to pay twice the value. So there is nothing of you as a farmer, seeing animal on your property, you can impound that animal. So don't just take photos. You could impound the animal. You call us, the police, or the Pradella City Department. I may say, I don't know which district or parish you are calling from, but I'm speaking of my district, which is St. George's. You can call that station and we will respond. And once you have that animal, we will take that animal to the pond. And the owner of that animal will have to pay to get that animal back.
Okay. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I am calling with my good friend who's on that program there. I won't call any names at this point in time, but I want to give an incident. I live at Montmaris. It has been more than 10 years. I have a neighbor who releases about 10 goats every dry season. And every dry season, the police have to be called more than once. I have lost a lot of material on the ground. I have lost plants. I have lost fruit trees. I have lost all manner of things. For years, I have replanted those items, and the next year they are eaten again. Last year, the police came and they went with 3 animals. And the police called me to tell me they would have to return the animals to that gentleman because they couldn't keep the animals. Do you know what went on with the animals couple months ago? They were loose again. I would love this officer to tell me, how is anybody supposed to protect their property without violence?
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. Any response?
Well, to the caller, I may say violence is a last resort in dealing with any matter that you're being disturbed with. So in that situation that you spoke about, I guess the animal returning to that owner, maybe the age of the animals. Because if it's kids, you cannot hold them away from their mother. Eventually die. So if maybe that was one of the reasons why the animals was returned. Right. So, and again, as you said, how you can protect your property without violence? You can. If you're speaking of the animals, as I rightfully said before, the animals can be impounded. So if you've been distressed, and I think I have an idea who is the caller that just called, if you have the same problem occurring, just impound those animals and feel free to call us, and then we will do this as I mentioned before, the above mentioned, we will take the animals to the pond. Because if it's a constant and repeated process that keep just repeating itself, then this is the only way that it can be solved. We have to just take the animals to the pond.
Officer Colville, we come into the wrapping up stage of today's program. Yes. I don't know if there are any closing comments before we take a wrap for today.
Yes, well, GT, I would like to say thanks for having me here, and the Commissioner of Police and his team. I would like to say thank them for giving me the opportunity to appear on the program. Also, the officer in charge of the Central Police Station. I would like to also thank my Pradella City members for giving me the opportunity and support to be on this program here this morning. And once again, I'd like to say thank you to the listening public, and feel free to contact us at the Central Police Station, Prida Larceny Department, if you have any problem.
All right.
So thank you and have a pleasant day.
I want to say thanks also to you, Officer Colville, and it was a pleasure having you as always. I want to thank all of your listeners and viewers this morning, those who participated, contributed some way or the other. Thank you so much for being part of To The Point this morning. Until we have another edition, it'll be tomorrow once the Almighty permits. Have yourself a great day. Take care of yourself and others. Have a good one, folks. Goodbye.